Stop watching them. Stop checking their progress, their success, their applause. Every second you spend sizing someone else up is a second stolen from your own destiny. Let me tell you something very few will admit. The man who studies others more than himself dies without knowing his true power. You weren't born to mimic. You were born to manifest. The richest man in history? He didn't get rich by scrolling through another man's life. He got rich by building his own. Andrew Carnegie, the man who inspired every principle I wrote, he didn't chase others. He chose himself. He had a definite chief aim so strong, so magnetic, it pulled steel from the earth and fortune from thin air. While others talked about what they might do, he worked in silence. And by the time they noticed, he already owned the game. Let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you stopped worrying about how they're doing and gave that energy back to yourself? What if you poured it into your own health, your own growth, your own faith? The greatest form of self-sabotage is obsession with someone else's timeline. While you're watching someone else plant seeds, your garden's dying. It's not just a distraction. It's a detour from the path God designed for you alone. You were meant to walk boldly, not follow. And here's the truth few will say out loud. No one is thinking about you the way you think they are. They're too busy with their own insecurities, their own fears, their own mirror of self-doubt. So break the mirror. Turn your gaze inward. You were born with an idea, a calling, a spark. And it's not supposed to look like theirs. Comparison is a coward's way of avoiding action. But you are not a coward. You are a builder of destiny. You are the flame they'll one day try to copy. Let them watch. Let them whisper. But you move. Because when you move, faith awakens. Envy is desire gone blind. It's the heart trying to speak through comparison. But here's the secret the world doesn't teach. The feeling of envy is not your enemy. It's your direction. When you feel that sting, that gut-level reaction to someone else's success, don't bury it. Study it. Ask yourself, what exactly am I jealous of? Is it their wealth, their confidence, their freedom? Now look deeper. Strip away the symbols. You'll find a hunger for something you already have the power to create. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. But envy without action is self-destruction. It drains you, dulls your edge, makes you question what you were born to pursue. Thomas Edison, when he saw other inventors succeed, he didn't whine. He didn't waste his nights talking about what they had. He used that fire to create the light bulb. Not once, not twice. Over 1,000 failures until he found the breakthrough, because his desire wasn't to beat them, it was to serve mankind. His obsession was never with their path. It was with his purpose. You see, envy tells you what looks good, but desire tells you what's meant for you. There's a difference. One leads to a dopamine crash, the other leads to destiny. When you focus on yourself, on your goals, your gifts, you don't just block out the noise. You start to burn with a fire so strong, comparison evaporates. Because you're no longer seeking what they have. You're building what only you can build. Write it down. Read it out loud. Feel it in your blood. I know what I want. I know what I deserve. I know why I must keep going. That's the kind of desire that wakes you up in the morning with conviction. That's the kind of hunger that outlives trends, followers, or applause. Desire is the compass, but without belief, it's just a dream. Faith is the ability to see the invisible and act on it like it's already real. And I'll tell you this straight, you cannot build a skyscraper on the foundation of someone else's confidence. If you want to build greatness, you must believe in your own voice, even when no one else hears it, even when they mock it, doubt it, walk away from it. When Henry Ford told people he would build a car affordable to every man in America, they laughed in his face. The experts said it was impossible. His competitors said he was delusional. The public said horses were faster. But Ford wasn't moved. Why? Because he saw it. He believed in it. He had faith, not in what others were doing, but in what he could do. And when you walk by faith, you become unstoppable. Faith is not blind. It's vision through the fog. It's hearing the applause before the curtain rises. It's seeing the finished product while others see a mess of moving parts. But here's the problem. Most people place their faith in others, in their opinions, their achievements, their momentum, and that's why they never find their own. The minute you shift your faith inward, everything changes. You stop waiting for validation. You stop second-guessing your instincts. You stop asking for permission to be great, because now your fuel doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. The more you focus on them, the more you doubt yourself. But when you focus on yourself, you feed your soul. And a well-fed soul can do impossible things. So I'll ask you again, where is your faith? Is it in their highlight reel or in your inner world? Because the truth is, if you say it long enough, believe it strong enough, and feel it deep enough, you become it. And that's where we go next. Let's talk about the words you say to yourself. What you say to yourself when no one's listening is the most important conversation of your life. Let me repeat that. The man who masters his internal dialogue masters his destiny. If you wake up every day saying, I'm behind, they're better, I'll never get there, you are hypnotizing yourself into failure. And most people, they do it unconsciously. That's why autosuggestion exists. It's not magic. It's mental reprogramming by deliberate repetition. You are constantly suggesting something to your subconscious mind every minute of every day. So the real question is, are you the one doing the programming, or is the world doing it for you? The news, social media, gossip, the highlight reels of people chasing shallow applause. These voices are loud, but your voice must be louder. The subconscious doesn't argue with you, it obeys you. It's like planting seeds in a garden. If you plant weeds, don't expect roses. Say to yourself, I am the builder of my world. Say, I am not concerned with their path, I am forging my own. Say, everything I need is already within me, waiting for my command. Say it in the morning when you rise. Say it at night before you sleep. Say it when you're afraid. Say it when no one believes in you. Because soon enough, your subconscious begins to act on it. It moves resources, people, and events like chess pieces toward your goal. That is the power of autosuggestion. And let me give you something practical, something that changed my life and the lives of every successful man I ever studied. Write your definite chief aim on paper. Describe it clearly. Speak it out loud with emotion, conviction, and repetition. Twice a day, every day. This isn't about hoping. This is about commanding. You're not whispering wishes into the wind. You're giving orders to the universe and to your mind. You are not a beggar. You are an architect of fate. And once you start speaking with authority, something extraordinary happens. Your mind obeys. The fog clears. The energy rises. The resistance dies. And suddenly, you move. Not because someone else is ahead, but because your words won't let you stand still. Now that you're speaking with clarity, we move to the next step. What knowledge are you feeding that desire? Let's get one thing straight. Information is not power. That's a myth. The world is drowning in information. Drowning. Everyone's watching tutorials, reading headlines, listening to voices that have nothing to do with their mission. Power is in the application of specific knowledge to a definite purpose. Let me give you an example. Henry Ford, brilliant man, but he didn't know everything. In fact, reporters once mocked him, called him ignorant because he couldn't answer technical questions about the mechanics of his cars. You know what he told them? He said, I have a row of buttons on my desk, and with one push, I can summon any man in America who knows the answer. Why should I clutter my mind with useless facts when I can hire someone who specializes? That's specialized knowledge. It means you stop learning what they think you should learn, and start mastering what your purpose demands. If your dream is to build a business, don't waste time memorizing the history of the Roman Empire. Study marketing, negotiation, systems. If your passion is healing others, don't drown in general theory. Go deep on biology, energy, or psychology. Study what matters for your purpose. Don't be a jack of all trades, master of none. That's what happens when you focus on others. Your energy gets scattered. You chase what looks impressive, what seems to work for them. But when you focus inward, you seek truth like a man on fire. You consume only what builds your vision. You say no to noise. You tune into mastery. You build depth instead of grabbing attention. And that's when things shift. Suddenly, you're not imitating anymore. You're innovating. You're not competing in their arena. You're creating your own. And let me tell you, when your knowledge aligns with your purpose, your movements become deadly efficient. You stop trying everything, you do what works, again and again. The successful man is not the one who knows everything. It's the one who knows what matters and acts on it. So ask yourself now, what do I need to know that will make everything else irrelevant? That's where we're going next. Because once you know what you want and why you want it, you don't just learn. You begin to see it, and that's where imagination takes over. Everything you see around you was once invisible. Every car, every tower, every empire, every dollar, it all began in someone's imagination. And that means this: the man who dominates his imagination dominates reality. Imagination is your workshop, your sacred construction site. And yet, most people treat it like a movie screen for watching others. They use it to fantasize about what someone else has, instead of building what they could have. That's the greatest tragedy of modern life. A mind with the power to shape worlds, wasted on watching. But you're waking up. You're remembering that imagination is a blueprint, not an escape. When you close your eyes at night, what do you see? Is it their life or your destiny? Every man who's ever built greatness first lived it in the theater of his own mind. Andrew Carnegie didn't wait until the world applauded him. He visualized his empire before the first brick was laid. He imagined success so vividly, so frequently, that his subconscious mind began to believe it was already true. And that's the secret. The subconscious cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined scene and reality. That's why your mental movies must be yours, not theirs. Your job is to direct the film, set the stage, light the scene. You are the actor, the author, the producer. Create the life you desire on the screen of your imagination until it becomes more familiar than doubt, more vivid than fear, more persistent than excuses. See it so often that your body begins to move toward it by instinct. When you hold the image of your definite chief aim with crystal clarity, everything else rearranges itself. Doors open, people appear, time bends. But if you're watching someone else's highlight reel, your imagination is working against you. You are meant to be a creator, not a spectator. And once your mind is filled with vision, something else must follow. There comes a moment in every great life when a decision must be made. Not a maybe, not a we'll see, not a soft, shaky whisper. A decision. And the word decision comes from the Latin decidere. It means to cut off, to eliminate every other option, to choose yourself and never look back. Indecision is the graveyard where dreams are buried. It's the silent killer, the slow poison, the reason so many go to their graves with music still in them. You can't focus on yourself if you haven't chosen yourself. You can't serve your vision if you're still scrolling through someone else's. Let me tell you what every titan I studied had in common. Not brilliance, not wealth, not luck, decisiveness. Carnegie decided to become a steel king, and nothing deterred him. Ford decided the common man would drive. And so the automobile industry bent to his will. Every single person who achieved greatness made a decision so bold, it scared everyone else. And then they followed through. But most are stuck in the land of what if? What if I fail? What if they don't approve? What if I lose? Let me ask you this. What if you never try? What if you spend your whole life bouncing between distractions, wondering why nothing sticks? Make the decision now. The decision to build, to move, to walk away from every voice that doesn't align with your calling, to stop asking, is this the right time? And instead declare, now is my time. That is power. When you make a decision, life responds. Heaven responds. Energy gathers. The wind shifts. Opportunities begin to appear because you've finally chosen a direction. And yes, it will get hard. Yes, you will face resistance. But the man who has made a decision is not afraid of challenge. He welcomes it. Because he knows that after decision comes the fire that forges the soul. You will be tested. You will be laughed at. You will fail again and again. But the question is never, did you fall? The question is always, did you get back up? Because persistence is the hinge upon which all success swings. Without it, your dreams stay in the clouds. With it, they become granite beneath your feet. Persistence means you don't need permission. It means you've burned the boats, closed the exits, and deleted the excuses. When Thomas Edison was creating the electric light, he failed not once, not 100 times, but over 1,000. Reporters mocked him. Investors pulled out. Even his friends questioned his sanity. You know what he said? I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not arrogance. That's persistence. That's knowing your goal is real, even when your results lie to you. That's continuing when the crowd stops clapping, when the money dries up, when the energy's gone. Most men quit at mile 20, not knowing the finish line was at mile 21. They throw away the calling because it didn't come easy. But you must become obsessed with the long game. Success doesn't come to the most talented. It comes to the most relentless. When others sleep, you study. When others scroll, you build. When others compare, you continue. Because persistence is spiritual. It's deeper than willpower. It's faith in motion. It's your soul saying, I was born for this, even if it takes everything I have. You will be tempted to quit. That's how you know you're close. Because pressure increases before birth. Resistance grows before release. And right when you want to walk away, that's when you dig in deeper. Because persistence is not just what you do, it's who you become. But here's the truth. Even the strongest can't walk the path alone. That's why you must choose your allies carefully. No man becomes great in isolation. You can have a powerful desire, deep faith, relentless persistence. But if your circle is weak, your foundation will crack. Let me be direct. You cannot build a palace while surrounded by people addicted to shacks. You cannot evolve when you're walking with the content, the comfortable, the complacent. That's why the mastermind is sacred. It is the deliberate alliance of two or more minds, harmonized with a shared purpose, pulling energy, ideas, and spiritual force from the unseen realm. When you align with the right minds, something divine occurs. A third mind is born, a mind greater than either one alone. Andrew Carnegie credited this principle as the root of his empire. He didn't do it alone. He gathered sharp minds around him, not flatterers, not fans, but thinkers, builders, visionaries. He said, I would rather have 1% of 100 men's efforts than 100% of my own. Why? Because the right people magnify your clarity. They check your blind spots. They challenge your laziness. They pull you into your best self. But the wrong people, they drain you, dull you, distract you with drama and envy and fear. So take a hard look at who's beside you. Do they elevate your purpose or pull you into pettiness? Do they remind you who you are or make you question your worth? You are the average of the 5 voices you hear most often. Make sure those voices speak life. Make sure they remind you that you are chosen, called, and created for greatness. If you can't find that circle, start building it. Speak your vision out loud and watch who leans in. Watch who stays silent. Watch who resists. Your tribe will reveal itself by how they react to your rise. And once you've found the right alignment, momentum becomes supernatural. Because when 2 or more agree on purpose, even the universe leans in to listen. But now that your circle is right, there's one more realm you must guard. You are not just a conscious being, you are governed day and night by a quiet force within you, your subconscious mind. It doesn't argue. It doesn't analyze. It simply absorbs and acts. Like fertile soil, it will grow whatever you plant. Truth or lies, power or weakness, faith or fear. And here's the problem. Most people are planting seeds they didn't even choose. Seeds handed to them by the media, by social pressure, by the endless highlight reels of other people's lives. Let me ask you, what are you allowing into your mind on a daily basis? What you watch, what you hear, what you repeat, all of it seeps down deep. That's why it is dangerous to focus on others. Their wins, their voices, their opinions. These things fill your subconscious with distractions that breed doubt. Instead of programming your mind for victory, you unconsciously install beliefs of lack, inferiority, and hesitation. But when you focus inward, when you fill your subconscious with your vision, your affirmations, your mission, you begin to walk differently, speak differently, choose differently, because your subconscious is now partnering with your goals, not resisting them. This is how elite men move. Quietly, with discipline, with mental hygiene. They do not let the world write on the walls of their mind. They do it themselves. Every single day, write your goal, speak your belief, repeat your affirmations, visualize your success in high-definition clarity. And just like a compass locks onto the magnetic north, your subconscious begins pulling you toward the image you've built within. And if you've built it strong enough, you won't even recognize yourself in a few months. Not because you changed, but because you finally remembered who you were before the world told you who to be. But there's one last realm, one final gear few ever unlock. That mysterious divine spark we all carry but rarely trust. There is a voice inside you that already knows what to do. It whispers when you're still. It nudges when you hesitate. It burns when you ignore it. This voice is not emotion, it's not logic, it's not opinion. It is intuition. And when you've aligned your thoughts, your words, and your energy with your purpose, this voice grows louder. Napoleon Hill called it the 6th sense, the temple of genius. It's the realm where logic ends and divine insight begins. The moment you step into this awareness, life stops feeling like a grind and starts feeling like a flow. You say the right thing at the right time. You meet the person you needed to meet. You act with speed, without overthinking, and the world calls it luck. But it's not luck. It's alignment. Every great man I studied developed this sense, and it always came after intense focus on their inner world. Not the crowd, not the culture, not the competition. Your intuition is the GPS of your soul. But if you drown it out with noise, you'll never hear its directions. If you keep chasing what others are doing, you'll miss the divine instructions designed just for you. So how do you sharpen this sense? Stillness, reflection, meditation, silence, but also obedience. When you feel the nudge to move, move. When you sense a person is wrong for you, walk away. When you hear your soul say, go left, stop arguing. Obedience to intuition is the secret doorway to greatness. Most will never walk through it. They're too distracted, too attached to what others think. But you're not most. You're remembering who you are, And now it's time to seal this teaching with action. Look around. The world is loud with distraction, buzzing with voices, flashing with images, pulling your focus in 100 directions. And every one of those directions leads you away from yourself. But greatness is quiet. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't chase approval. It doesn't care what they think. It is born in the silence of a man who has finally said, I will no longer waste my life watching others. Let me say this with power and clarity. You have everything within you: desire, faith, imagination, discipline, vision, fire. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are becoming. But you must choose it, and no more someday. No more maybe later. Decide today to shut the door on comparison. Decide today to protect your mind like it's gold, because it is. Decide today to act, speak, think, and move like a man who knows my destiny is mine to claim. So here is your challenge. Write your goal. Speak it aloud. Guard your mind. Make the decision. Move with persistence. Feed your soul. Trust your inner voice. And above all, focus on yourself. Because when you do that, everything else begins to focus on you. You stop being a watcher, you become a magnet. Doors open, resources appear, people listen. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. And that is the hidden key to wealth, joy, power, and peace. Now go make the decision and never look back. Subscribe, your next level starts here. That is the hidden key to wealth, joy, power, and peace. Now go make the decision and never look back. Subscribe, your next level starts here.